Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the second season of the Woman to Woman Show. Woo! Welcome, welcome. We are so excited to be back. Oh my goodness, we missed each other. We just did a prayer backstage because we wanted to we just wanted this conversation to flow. One thing I want everybody to know, and I think I can speak for all of my sisters here. I think I can speak for each and every one of us that by no means are we here to judge anybody. By no means are we here to shame anybody. By no means do we have any type of phobias. By no means do we have any hate for anybody. We love everybody. And we just here on the Woman to Woman show want to have real, raw, necessary conversations that are not being had across the board with women. So we're just here to talk to you, woman to woman, where truth plus transparency equals healing. So I just want to go around the room and let my girls tell you who they are. And I'll start with, if y'all can see, I'll start with Shay and then we'll go around the room.
Hello, everybody. Glad you are here with us again for our second season of the Woman to Woman Show. My name is Shayla Williams, owner operator of Shay's Corner, www.shayscorner.com. And you can follow me on all social media. Just look up Shay's Corner.
Gina?
Hi, everyone. Some people know me as Chef Regina, and I do enjoy cooking, baking, and just sharing the love of
Oh,
people
my name
coming
is Shayla
together.
Williams, owner operator of Shay's
And I
Corner,
just really am happy to be
www.shayscorner.
here again, just coming together and having great conversations and women to women.
Thank you. Netta?
Good evening, everyone. My name is
And I
Fields. I am
Hold
a
on, Netta. Hold on, Netta. Is somebody have their phone listening on another device? If you do, turn it all the way down because we're getting feedback. We are live, so forgive us because we're going to keep it moving in. So if you have your devices on, just turn it all the way down. All right, Netta.
I am Manetta Fields. I am a holistic health educator. You can find me on all social media platforms at Holistically Motivated. My desire is for us as women to learn tips, strategies, and solutions to live our best, healthiest life, and for us to stop leaving the crumbs for ourselves. We deserve better. So I'm happy to be here with you tonight.
Yes, Sheila.
Good evening. Good evening. It is great to be back. It seemed like it's been a long time, but you know what? We're back and we're ready and we're going to do this thing. I am Sheila Isom. I am an independent stylist for Color Street, and Color Street sells nail polish strips. So it's an alternative to your liquid nail polishes or even going into the salon, sitting there for hours, and you can have a manicure in a matter of minutes, and it looks like you just stepped out of the salon. And it's another way to remind women that you can look good on the go and at your convenience.
Yes, Theo.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I am Theodora Carter, owner and operator of T. Carter Coaching and Consulting. I empower women to change their lives. I help women create and define a life that is focused on living a life of harmony and peace. And you can find me at Theodora T. Carter at .com. And I'm Theodora Carter 428 on IG.
And where's your group?
And my group is on Facebook. It is a private group, but you can gain entry by just sending me a DM.
Yes, the Harmony Room. You need to be in there. And I'm Trey Kearney. I'm a certified life coach, author, speaker, autism mommy, and an advocate for Black men. And I just love to share the truth. I love for people to heal. And this is why I think it's necessary for us as women to have the hard conversations. And our topic tonight is, has Black girl magic lost its shine? And the reason why I wanted to share this topic, and the ladies will be sharing topics that they feel is important as well as we go along this journey together, is because every time I open up my phone, every time I turn on the TV, every time I hear something, I hear vulgarity, I see somebody's behind, I see somebody's breast, and these are not pages that I follow. This is when I'm scrolling on things that I chose to watch. But if you watch somebody and they've watched something, they'll say this has been suggested. So I'm really, really tired of Black women, and we're talking about Black women because we're Black women. I'm really tired of Black women complaining about the lack of respect that we get from Black men, one, and a lack of respect that we get from other races, two, when we degrade and diminish ourselves by showing our bodies all the time. I believe that if you are a wife and a mother of a certain age, not that you can't be sexy, but that there's a time and a place for everything, and everything is not for everybody. So I'm going to show a couple of clips. Hold on, Gina just came in. Our other co-host is here. Hey, Regina.
Hi, sorry guys, I was having technical difficulties. So,
It's okay. We just introduced ourselves, so tell everybody who you are and what you do really quickly.
hi everyone, my name is Regina Booker, and I am the owner of Season and Fabulous, and I am a.
Move over the other way.
No, I'm trying to move. Okay, got you.
Oh, yep.
Look, this is real TV, right?
Yeah, we don't mind. That's right.
So, it is a self-care program. I'm working with doing retreats for women, taking care of themselves and putting themselves first. And because, as you know, we always put ourselves last. So there's tools and things that we could do to make sure that we take care of ourselves. Therefore, we'll be able to take care of our families and friends. But if we put ourselves first and put us first, the healthier we are, the better we can be for ourselves and everyone else.
Oh, yes. Come through now with the whole pitch now. In our second season, we don't work with people because over here we work on things too. So I'm going to show a couple of clips of how drastic we have become as a culture, right? Like how our youth has lost their way based on certain women that they're following and certain things that they're hearing. So we know Shirley Ralph won her first Emmy. So I'm going to just share her really quickly.
I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim song. I am a woman, I am an artist, and I know where my voice belongs. To anyone who has ever had a dream and thought your dream wouldn't, couldn't come true, I am here to tell you that this is what believing looks like. This is what striving looks like. And don't you ever give up on you, because if you get a Quinta Brunson in your corner, if you get a husband like mine in your corner, if you get children like mine in your corner, and if you've got friends like everybody who voted for me, cheered for me, love me, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. Wasn't that beautiful? Oprah said that was the best acceptance speech she ever heard. And she sent her this bouquet of flowers that I don't know if y'all saw it. That was massive. Like it took 2 men to carry this bouquet up her. This bouquet, I never saw no flowers like that before. I was like, oh my goodness, wow. She did
I
that.
must have watched that video about 10 times.
Yes.
Like, I just kept watching it over and over and over and over again.
Now I just want you guys to watch Lizzo's acceptance speech. Not that we're here to judge but there's a miss. And I want everybody that is watching this program today to understand why we're doing this, because we have to get our Black girl magic back, because it's being diminished every single day that these type of things happen. So I'm going to play her, add her to the stream.
And now, to the bitches that got something to say about me in the press. You know what? I'm not gonna say nothing. They be like, Lizzo, why don't you clap back? Why don't you clap back? Cause bitch, I'm winning, ho. This bitch is winning, ho! That's what vintage show paper, bitch!
So reactions, thoughts, comments, reactions. Any ladies, what do you guys think is speechless? Are y'all speechless?
Yeah, I had not saw that video, so I don't know. I think at first, initially, I am speechless. I am saddened by the applause.
Oh, wait. Come on through. Say that again. What?
I am saddened by the applause. And like you said, no judgment whatsoever. But there is a time and place for everything. And I think one of the things that is missing is people not recognizing that there is a way to address how people come at you. Right. And there's a time and a place. And I think one of the things that also is sad is that our award shows accept that now. Like it's like there's no standard set that says you can't, like they didn't even bleep it, right? There was a time when that would be bleeped, right? And so I just think it's a paradigm shift in our society and in our nation. And it's accepted more so now than it ever was.
And what you're saying that, Theo, we as adults, as intelligent, mature Black women, have to get our young girls not to ridicule them or embarrass them in any way. But somebody back in the day, remember when you was in church, if you had a skirt that was too short, somebody throw a hanky on your lap. She never said anything, but you knew, like, ooh, okay, next Sunday, this gonna be something different. So why do we? Anybody else have a thought, comment, or reaction to the difference in the speeches?
Yeah, I do. Well, the first thing that came to me is here we have a seasoned, mature entertainer, and we have a young, still inexperienced, I'd want to say, entertainer. And I would want to ask if any of the seasoned entertainers have taken the time to, I guess, mentor or speak to the younger entertainers that are coming up and kind of help them along the way. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
And I want to say this. I've never seen Shirley Ralph behave that way. I've seen her accept other awards, not an Emmy, but I've seen her in other places where she's spoken. And I've seen other artists, even back in the day when it was our age group and we were having the MTV Awards and the BET Awards and the Soul Train Music Awards, the vulgarity and just the plain old filth has overpowered the media. And I think it's because none of us are saying anything. Like the outfits that our young ladies are wearing, the language that they're using, that is filthy. And I know that we get in a moment of where Lizzo feels picked on, but you attacking other people like the media and behaving that way gives them not a right to treat you that way, But if you want to be respected, I don't care what nobody does. I'm the best version of Trey that I can be. Okay, because everybody else is doing doesn't mean I'll do it. Netta, you wanted to say something about your reaction as well?
Yeah, I think I've had a few minutes to process. So the initial video from Shirley Ralph, I felt empowered. I felt proud. I felt like celebrating with her. I felt like I was encouraged by her message. Um, Lizzo's, however, I couldn't even celebrate with her in that moment because I was in shock, first of all. And then I think about what was it that was gained from that?
Right.
So much more, I feel, was lost in the moment
Mm,
because of the presence, the attitude, the language. It overshadowed what was to be celebrated.
wow.
Mhm.
Ooh, ooh. And this is my thought here. Like, do you think Oprah sent her flower? I mean, not, I'm saying, like, Oprah said, you never know who's watching and who wants to give you a better opportunity or have you next to them or celebrate you. So we just got to be careful of how we carry ourselves and I slip up every now and then. I slip up sometimes when I'm being passionate and the curse might come out of my mouth, but I'm aware of it. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't say that. Don't say that again. You could articulate better if you think about it. So the thought is, do you think that Oprah sent her flowers? I'm going to try to share my screen really quickly. I never did this before, but let me see if I can share our flyer for the week. Share screen. Capture these tips. Let me see. Um, let's see. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see if I can bring this to the front. Y'all talk about the what
I was just
y'all
going to say, yeah, while you're doing that, I'm just going to give you my thoughts.
please.
And Netta actually said one of the words which was in my mind, lost in translation, because Lizzo had a message
Right,
that could have been empowering had she used the right vocabulary. And what's
right,
interesting is that her message was that you can say whatever you want about me, disparaging, positive, ugly, but I am still on top. I'm climbing, I'm getting there based on my merits. However, I will bet you at any time if she actually sat down with Shirley Ralph would probably tell her stories that would bring her to tears. Because when you think about the fact that Shirley has been in this industry as long as she has, and she is just now celebrating an Emmy Award. Just now. And we know who Shirley Ralph is, right? So many other people don't. But
right.
I'm sure the stories that she has would bring Lizzo and Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion to
Ooh,
their knees. And but to this day, with all of those stories and the feats that she's had to overcome, Shirley still walks proudly, speaks in tall, carries a big stick, and is well respected in the industry.
Mhm.
So
yes,
that is talking about a teaching moment.
right,
That's what we need to look at.
yes,
Yeah, but I think also one of the things that could kind of make it difficult too is it's two different. Although it's the same, it's art. It's two, right there that you have the actors, right, and then you have the musicians, right. And although you do see that somewhat with the on the actor side, you see a lot more of it on the musical side, right, the artists, the hip-hop, the whatever, right. And so I think that has something to do with it as well, because it is so accepted, um on that side with the younger artists that are coming up, right? Because even some of the older artists, I'm sure they try to speak right into those individuals, some positive stuff, but it's not in a way that it's encouraging them to be different. It's encouraging them to continue to do what they do because that's what sells records.
But that's the problem right there. What
Yeah.
you just said, what you just said, our executives, music executives, our icons, I'm talking about those who have made it in the business, are collaborating with this trash. That's a problem. Okay? When you collaborate with the trash, you're lowering your standards because these young people have internet numbers. So there's something being lost here that is disturbing to me when it comes to who's putting these young people out, behind the person behind it. These young ladies are being exploited, and I have a problem with that. I have a problem with Meg Thee Stallion being exploited. I have a problem with Lizzo being exploited. I have a problem with the other rapper Lotto being exploited. I have a problem with the woman, that the girl who has the podcast, Caratia, or I think that's her name, the one on Revolt.
Carisha.
Caratia,
From,
yes, from City. Was it from City Girls?
City Girls.
Right. And I saw a portion of an interview she did with Meg Thee Stallion, and I'm going to use some vulgar language right now because the only way I could tell you what she said is to say what she said. And this blew my mind because I was like, okay, let me give the little girl a try because I love to interview. I love the art of interview. I love to watch good people who do good interviews. Like, so I said, maybe they gave her the podcast, the show, because she's a very good interviewer. Because when you know how to interview, you know how to interview. So I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, okay, so it started off horrible. And forgive me, and I'm not judging because it's a skill. Interviewing is a skill. Talking is a skill. Communication is a skill. Even if you have a personality. For me, I have to practice. I practice in the mirror. I practice with y'all. I talk to anybody I can talk to. And in the middle of the interview, about 10 minutes into it, which I was listening, which it was horrible, she says to Meg Thee Stallion, "Would you fuck me?"
Who is she?
She's another rapper that Puffy is sleeping with, which is a whole nother problem because she's about 25 years old. He gave her a show. And we talking about this for real. So we naming names and all of that other stuff.
I didn't know who she was.
Yeah, she's another rapper, a young rapper who was messing with Puffy. And she said to Meg Thee Stallion, "Would you fuck me?" And Meg Thee Stallion said, "Yeah, I would." And then she goes to continue the conversation of who would be on top. This is the interview that their two young ladies are having. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, never in my life, ladies, or y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, whether it was Little Kim, Foxy Brown, what was the nasty 2 Live crew guys? They have never, ever, while I watched the interview with them, were vulgar, nasty, disgusting, and just trashy. Ever. And we had some, and again, we had our people. We had Little Kim. She was risque. She did some stuff. Legs was open a little bit, but it was never to the point of where I'm tired. I'm so tired of it that I can't even enjoy or take a risk on watching their video because I don't want to watch soft porn. So jump in, anybody.
I mean, I don't know half of the people you named. I mean, so I know Cardi B because I hear her. I know Meg Thee Stallion, but all the other people, but I'm honestly speechless. Like I don't really know what to say. I mean, I guess I'm trying to figure out what was the purpose of the interview. Like,
right?
Like I think is it that they're just trying to get the views on social media? I mean, because I think that's part of the problem, right? There's no intention behind what they're doing. Right. It's all about how many likes I get, how much money I can get, how many people I can get to follow me. And unfortunately, that is what sells and what people are interested in.
because that's what's one for me. I'm thinking is and Gina, you want to jump in? You're muted, Gina. We can't hear you.
You're muted.
No, she's not muted. We can't hear you. Got to go out and come back in.
Oh, she's not muted.
No, she's not muted. The mic's not muted. And I want to talk about this too. I want to talk about our older sisters, right? If you go on, I wish I could show the flyer, but it won't let me share the screen. But I'll learn the next time because I'm a little seasoned myself. But I did learn how to run the videos. But on the flyer, I had a picture of Ciara, who is an artist. I know y'all know Ciara. And Ciara has a video out. I think it's called Jump, Make It Jump or something like that. But on her flyer, on one of her pictures, she is backwards and both of her butt cheeks are out with some tiny little jean short shorts on. I mean, both her cheeks are out. And this is a woman of a certain age who's married to a football player, to Russell Wilson. And I don't understand. Do you guys think that is appropriate behavior when you are a mother and a wife? Netta? Because I know you're a mother and a wife and you have a daughter and a son.
No, indeed. Who is that for? Your body is, you've committed to one person.
Right.
And that is your husband. I
Right.
feel that is disrespectful. I don't want to see it.
Right.
You know, I'm forced to see it because you put it out there. I don't want to see that. That is for you and your husband to enjoy. Widows for him, and y'all have a great time. But for the general population, I feel it's inappropriate. Her children are gonna see that at some point. That's not appropriate for your children to see. Forget about me because I know I don't matter. What about your children?
Right. And let's just talk about not only her children, but her children's peers. And I want Ciara, if Ciara's watching this or any other artist who's watching who has children and a husband, I just really want to emphasize that the world is cruel. Children are cruel. Russell's peers can be cruel. Like his co-workers can be cruel. They're seeing your wife twerk and you got to walk in the locker room with them. And God forbid he gets somebody who's a rival who wants to get under his skin, and your wife has everything God gave her on the screen. And then we have your children, your son, Future, who was asking you questions about this. And you thought it was funny to laugh and talk about it when you tried to explain to him and say, when he asked, what do you mean make it jump? You tried to give him this little corny excuse. And he said, Mommy, please. Like, then you have your sons, his friends, and their fathers and their mothers who are watching this stuff, as well as Gabrielle Union. And we had a little bit of this conversation backstage. And Theo said, and if I could repeat that, what you said, Theo, that every time you see Gabrielle Union, she's naked. And it's like, what is the purpose of this? You're an actress. Can we see you act? You're a mom. What example are you setting? And I would like to ask them this question, and every other mother that's watching this who might be doing risque things, having naked pictures and twerking and all this other stuff, who have daughters, young daughters right now, would you be okay with your daughter in a picture in the position that you're in? Would you be okay with your daughter in the position that you're in? And go ahead, Netta.
Imagine your behavior triggering something in your son to turn him to sex too soon.
Woo! Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
He didn't have to see it in a magazine. He saw you.
Oh my goodness. Wow. And I know, Sheila, you have a son. And how important is your behaviors, not even around your son, just in general, because we're not even talking about being around our kids. We're just talking about our behaviors in general.
Well, again, we're a representation of our kids, just as they are a representation of us. And while this is a little bit off topic, I will tell you that a story that he relayed to me, because he's a typical what I guess what are they, Gen Zs or whatever it is that they are. So, he sleeps as long as he possibly can, wears the same kind of clothes over and over again, isn't concerned about what people think about him, or overly concerned about his looks. But he talked about how during the last days of the prior semester, where a bunch of them were getting together to go to brunch on a Sunday, and they all hung out the night before, as college kids would. But it's like, okay, we got to get to this restaurant at 11 o'clock because we know it's going to get crowded. And he was the only one that was up and ready on time to get ready to leave. And what does he say to me? He says, now I know what my mother feels, how my mother feels, because I'm always the one saying, it's time to go. When I'm ready to go, let's go. We have a certain time to be there. We need to do that. So that was something that he picked up from me.
Right. Oh.
So how could I turn around and instill punctuality and respect for time in somebody like that, but then turn around and have my behind half out? Because I'm also talking to him about the type of women that he should have. I want someone that's going to respect him.
Right.
That he is going to respect and love, someone who has values, someone who will put God first. If I'm not exhibiting those same values and traits, then how hypocritical would I be trying to teach him that and expect him to receive it?
Wow. That was so good, Professor. That was so good, Professor. Thank you. Thank you so much. Because again, the point here is that just because we're not telling our children something, they're watching and mimicking what we do. And of course, I'm going to say this out loud because I don't want anybody to think that we're judging anybody, because we've all made mistakes in parenting. I've drunk shots in front of my children, like taking back shots. I've been drunk in front of my children. And to self-reflect on that, to say, I've caused some behaviors in them that if somebody had told me back when I was doing it, I may not have done it in front of them. So for me to watch these young women and these older women who are our age, like Sierra is what do they call it? Geriatric millennial, which is the older millennials. They're not quite Generation X like us. Like my niece is 37 years old, 38, and I have conversations with my niece about my two grandnieces that she has now. Like, I better not see them dressed like you. I dip, triple, dipple, double dare you to let me see them twerking, singing inappropriate lyrics, or dressed like you. They are not a doll. They are little girls. They better be in. And my niece is very appropriate when she dresses them. And I appreciate for her for that, because she's like, I know, Auntie, because I want them to be little girls as long as they can. So let's talk about, we are demanding respect from not only Black men, but from other nationalities. And again, y'all tell me this. Do you see Japanese women doing this? Do you see white women doing this? Do you see other cultures doing? I really want to know. Like, do you see this, Shayla?
Well, I'm gonna say, a friend of mine shared something on her IG about TikTok and who owns TikTok and what they're allowing the United States TikTok people see as opposed to their own country see. So they were talking about the algorithms and saying that what the United States see is not what the Chinese see. I believe it's Chinese. They see more of the educational and the well dressed and etc. All of the good things. But here we see all of the twerking, because it will systematically and I guess underlyingly destroy the society.
Yes, I believe that.
So, what we are consuming, what's being put out there is exemplary of what we're doing. Like we're seeing, because social media has made so many things more available to so many children that we're not really feeding the proper things. We're not giving them the right examples. They're not seeing that. So the twerking and all of this stuff is become normalized because of the social media. We're not, and we're not really feeding them the things that they need to be fed in order to be, in my opinion, my humble opinion, decent, um, well-rounded young people going into adulthood, and not making the mistakes that when they look back when they're adults, like, oh, wow, I wish I hadn't done that, because now it's recorded for eternity. We didn't have to worry about that because we didn't have, like you said earlier, we didn't have all of this. We could have, might have been twerking before all of this twerking started, but ain't nobody can, they can say, well, I remember when, but you don't have it recorded anywhere.
Right. Right.
It's not recorded anywhere. It's not, permanently in cyberspace somewhere. I've always joked about, if I ever became famous, maybe things would start to surface because of the audition. Some of the auditions that I've had to, there was one audition I was auditioning for a modeling position and a singing position. And I was there in a bikini singing a ballad. Picture that.
Well, let's talk about this though. The problem that I'm having, and Regina, you can jump in if you want. The problem that I'm having is we play this blame game of people making like we're these things. Nobody's making us twerk on TikTok. The Chinese people are not making us twerk on TikTok. They're not making us, they created an app, but the content that we're putting up as a culture is a direct reflection of us. They're not saying, in order to be on this TikTok, you got to twerk, you got to curse, you got to bend over, you got to put out your cleavage. That's not them doing that. So, Regina, what do you think as a culture? Why are we so fascinated as Black women now? Why has nakedness, twerking, and exposing ourselves become the new normal?
To get likes and to make money.
Oh,
That is all TikTok is about. These kids, they see it's an easy way to make money. Anything that's violent or just risque, they want to do. Everyone's looking at it. I do follow two people. I was following a cooking show, and and there's two women that are gay, and then they had their relationship come in, and the numbers just plummet. I mean, it went from the cooking. Well, the one lady was a chef, and her, I guess her fiance was something else. So I enjoyed. I didn't, I had no problem with watching because I learned a lot from watching her cook. And she was a content creator, but then they put their whole sex, like the numbers they're charging for this wedding. They're going all out doing all this stuff, and people are rabbing around them. So it's all about numbers and money, and there's no respect. They don't care anymore. Like me, I would never, but that's just me. Like Shayla said, that's me. I have two boys. I am not going to put myself in a position where my boys can look at me and look like Lizzo cursing and all that. I mean, where does that? But to me, it's all about numbers and likes, and the internet is the next biggest thing, and this is where I'm going to get my millions.
thank you, girl. Listen, and we're going to talk a little bit about the twerking senator, the twerking Black female Rhode Island senator who thought that it was cool to twerk on her head, and then at the end of the twerking say, "Vote for me." And I'm trying to figure out. It took us 1,000 years to be able to be even considered to be a senator. And I'm exaggerating, but y'all know what I mean. It took us forever in a fight from our ancestors, to be able to be Black women in positions of power, such as lawyers and senators and doctors and first ladies. And for you to think, Senator Mack, that it is okay as a Black woman to expose your whole entire behind and twerk on your head and say, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm not going to hold myself accountable, that you would you represent it's, and I know we said some of y'all said backstage she don't represent me. No, she represents all of us as a black woman, as a senator, whether we like it or not. So for her to do that, and then this is my problem too, and I want y'all to chime in on this too. My problem is that as black women, we defend each other's wrong because we're black women. Wrong, right, or indifferent. Well, it's her body. We will make up an excuse on every turn, every curve, and every corner to defend a black woman that's doing something wrong because she's a black woman. And I want you guys to just tap into that really quickly. Like there were other black women that saying, "Oh well, she was doing it because of this," or she was wrong is wrong, right is right. Anybody can jump in and respond.
Well, her position or the position she's seeking requires trust
Mm.
because she's going to be making decisions for
Woo!
everyone, not just black people, but everyone. So if I can't trust you to make a good decision regarding your personal space, I can't trust you to make a good decision for something outside of that.
Wow. Wow. Come on now, Sheila.
I hadn't heard that story before, but when I saw it, I was absolutely incredulous because, on the one hand, we talk about how number 45 demeaned the office of the presidency.
Mm.
But because there's decorum to politics, as with everything, there's the quid pro quo. You do for me, I'll do for you. I don't think there's a lot wrong with having these backdoor deals, because sometimes it's at some point in our life it was, okay, this is going to benefit my constituents. So when something comes around and it's time to benefit yours, then I'll take care of you there. Wow. So there was that working together. Again, you can't say that this person was bad, or even the group, a certain political party is doing bad, when you're putting not only yourself, but the other political party in a bad light. You're diminishing the meaning, the purpose of the office that you're running for, and the political party that you're on. You can't turn around and say, yeah, we're doing good, but there's a group of people over there that's saying, how can you do this in front of our children?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you cannot justify your behavior. And again, I have no problem with making a mistake. I make mistakes. I might say something, I might offend somebody, but I have no problem with taking accountability when a certain amount of people come to you and say, Senator, the behavior is inappropriate. When a certain amount of black women come to you and come on your TikTok and you see in the comments, and this is another thing that was disturbing to me. You're arguing back and forth on social media. You are a senator of the United States of America. And ladies, can you imagine Michelle Obama arguing with us on TikTok because we said something about her? Can you just imagine Michelle Obama coming on TikTok because I said, Michelle, you shouldn't have did that, and her coming on TikTok like, I do what I want to do, and you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and ain't nobody mad but you. This is what this person was doing. And like Netta said, you expect me to allow you to make decisions in my community?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
But it also kind of diminishes the Me Too movement, right? Right. It diminishes, the women that were, behind the scenes being being made to do things, the quid pro quo, the women that, right? Like, so it diminishes. Like we went through a period where they tightened the sexual harassment law. We all had to rewrite policies. We all had to put stuff in place, right? We had to put training out there. We had, like, it became a thing, right? And now we got senators saying it's okay for us to twerk and be half dressed. And so if now one of the male politicians say something to me, right, is that okay?
Right. Come on,
Yeah.
HR.
Yeah,
Right.
so she took the words right. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, where's the respect now? Do you really expect now if you go to an event, a political event, that you're gonna be respected? That these men are gonna look at you in a light of respect? So when they say something to you that is disrespectful, can you really turn around and say, who you talking to? You can't speak to me that way when you've exposed yourself in the manner that you have. Like, there's so many ramifications, especially if you're in a position like that, that you really have to consider every move you make.
Well,
Right.
I
she,
think to be a politician, you really have to consider. That's why you would never find me in that position. But to
but
be a
she would say,
politician,
right, what I wear doesn't mean someone can say whatever they want to me, right?
Unfortunately,
And she's probably right. But the reality is there were women out here fighting, right? Because they were being disrespected, they were being sexualized, they were being, and it just really says, like, all the fight that they put into it, right? It's like, okay, it
and
it
it's
I
not
don't know.
only her, but I love that, Theo. But it's not only her. We have been saying for years and years and years, stop objectifying us. Stop looking at us as objects. What do you think? A man got eyes. Like, I'm looking and I'm appalled and I'm like, God, her whole butt is out. I mean, I can't ignore it anymore. Like, I can't ignore seeing another woman's breast. I don't want to see it. I'm not attracted to it. And I don't want to see it. Like, and we're saying, stop treating us like objects. But you're out here purposely. This is just common sense. And like Theo said, of course, nobody's supposed to touch you, say anything to you. We live in a real world. Like, we really live in a world this is the real world. If I go outside dressed like this, I'm going to get a certain amount of attention, right? Even with my hair. Sometimes I will put my hair up, braid it, put it in a ponytail, put a baseball cap on, because I know, and where I live in a predominantly white area. I know that when I walk out the house and my hair is like this, everybody and their mama gonna stare at me. I know that. So days that I don't feel like them staring at me, I will pull my hair back in a ponytail, put on a baseball cap, and know that nobody's gonna even notice me, right? Not to hide myself or anything, but I know a certain look is gonna get a certain amount of attention. Now, if I go outside with this t-shirt on, more than likely nobody's gonna look. But if I go outside with a bra top on and some shorts that are really cut and 2 inches of my butt cheek is showing, everybody's gonna stare at me, and more than likely, some man is gonna shoot his shot. And I'm going to be mad, right? Why would I be mad if I got a bra on with jingles hanging from it and some shorts that are inappropriately cut to where my not only my behind is showing, but my vagina print is showing? And then I'm going to say to a man that says, hey, baby, I would love to take you out. Leave me alone.
Hmm.
Like, why does that make sense to me? Why do you think that makes sense to us, but not to, I don't understand. I
I
can't.
think I think we grew up in an age where leaving something to the imagination was sexy,
Right.
right? So we grew up in an era where we got dressed, like we got dressed to the nine, right, and had on a lot of clothes. Where we walked out knowing we were sexy, right?
Yes.
It was in the way the outfit laid on you. It was the shoes and the accessories, right? And so I think we grew up in an era where dressing up nice and putting on certain clothes and how it fits you, that was sexy, right? We
Classy.
also grew up in an era where I grew up in an era where my godmother would be like, "Where y'all going?
Right.
What,
Right.
what's that little dress you got on? Where y'all going in that?"
Right.
Right? And so, but I think also we grew up in an era where leaving something to the imagination was sexy.
Right. Right.
Right. And I think that has changed now for some reason. I don't know how it shifted, when it shifted, but now it's kind of like every and I'm not gonna say every man, because I don't think every man finds that attractive.
Well, let me tell
Right.
you, I interviewed like last weekend. I went to one of my friends invited me to his boys' football game so that I could do some Men Hurt 2 live interviews. And the majority of the men were like, we tired, we don't want to see it no more. Like, if we seen one, we seen them all. Like, there's nothing, it's not even impressive no more. Like, I don't, like, the men was really literally saying this, and people could say they were just saying that because that's what you wanted to hear, but they really weren't saying it because that's what I want. They were like, I don't even pick my phone up to scroll no more because it don't even make no sense. And this one guy said, what did he say? Sex is easier to get than a job. He said, I could walk out this door and vagina is everywhere, Trey. Like, I could just go on my phone and I could just DM a chick or a whole bunch of chicks because they all naked. So I already know, why not shoot my shot? Because clearly she's not on here doing anything except looking for sexual attention. So my intention when I see a woman that's looking for sexual attention is to give her sexual. I'm not going to try to go on her DM and have an intellectual conversation with her because
wow,
how you presented yourself. I see you. One guy said, all I see is this. He said, I can recognize most women by their backside rather than their.
Ooh.
Wow. I was like, wow, is that what it is? He's like, girl, like every time I don't even see their face no more. I don't see their face until, 2 or 3 scrolls down. And I'm like, okay, wow. So we have to, again, this is why we have this platform here. Because Theo, you said a very, 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 very important word before we came on. You remember what that word was?
I don't know. I'm traumatized. Right about
It was time for us to shift.
Yes.
I'm like, listen, I'm like, oh Lord Jesus.
When we have a young woman that comes on stage and says to accept the award, and we hear bitches and hoes in the same sentence, we have a major problem. And this, again, is not to condemn her. This is not to make her feel bad. This is for us. It's time for us to be okay with gently course correcting our young ladies and young men and having these real conversations of accountability. I don't care what somebody said about Lizzo. I don't care if somebody called her names, talked about her weight. Your reaction, you're accountable for your reaction. It says nothing about the people that fat shamed you or called you names. It says everything about the content of your character. If somebody, whatever somebody says to one of us, how we respond, everything about who we are. If we curse them out, if we call them a name, if we fight fire with fire, if we spit on them, that says everything about Trey and nothing about them. And my mother used to say this thing: if you arguing with a fool, nobody's gonna know who the fool is because it's two of y'all, 2 fools now.
It takes 2 fools to argue.
That's it. So we're going to pull up our therapy card really quickly because we cannot skip that. So if this is your first time tuning into the Woman to Woman show, we love to do a therapy card every week where we can talk about whatever the card says, and we be surprised sometimes. So this is just a therapeutic moment, and we hope that you will participate with us so that you can grow and heal along this journey with us. So Netta's going to tell us what our therapy card says, and Sheila usually types it in for us so that we all remember the question. So come on, Netta.
Before I share the therapy card, can I just charge each of us to be a mentor to someone? I think what we're seeing is a deficit in the poor from the old to the young.
Wow.
I make it a daily aspiration to speak to a young woman to encourage her, because it's hard to receive instruction and correction if there's no relationship.
Wow.
So that's just my little 2 cents.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Thank you for that, Netta.
Yes.
So, as we have shared before, these cards are from Dr. Ebb. It's called My Therapy Cards. You can get these online on her website. I believe it's mytherapycards.com. And so, here we go with the card for the week. When triggered, oh boy,
Uh-oh.
we've all been triggered today. Which coping skills and responses are you most proud of using?
Ooh, one more time.
When triggered, which coping skills and responses are you most proud of using? And the task is to identify the factors that led you to develop and use these skills over others.
Ooh, that is good.
When you're triggered, what coping skills and responses are you proud of using?
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I would say the one thing that I've learned, right, and it comes from doing the work. We've all done the work, but through therapy, through coaching, is to take a minute and to recognize that my response is based on who I am and not on who the other person is or what is happening to me, right? So it may mean me taking some time to process, right, and not reacting in the moment, not saying what's on my mind. But I mean, I think because I have actually been diligent about studying like emotional intelligence, right, that has helped with me knowing that, first of all, knowing my triggers,
Yes.
right? So that's the first thing. I know my triggers. So I know what pushes my buttons. And so that will tell me how to respond, whether I'm going to shut down, meaning I'm going to take a minute, right? Retreat, think about, process before I respond. But I think the most important thing for me is knowing what triggers me and what will set me up, because I'm a really, really, really nice person. But if you push me, it might not be too good, right? And I know that.
Yes.
Right. And so I know if someone has pushed me to the point where I'm like, I'm about to explode, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna be by myself.
Yes.
Right.
Mine's is what I'm most proud of when I get triggered is I used to pop off, now I pray. It might be a quick little 2-second prayer. And it might be, Lord, don't let me choke this girl out. Playing. Me and God got a gangster relationship. Like he know I'm hood. He know me. So he knows something might come out my mouth where I say, God, I'm about to fight this girl. Like I don't even, so I'm proud that I could talk to the Holy Spirit that's inside of me. Cause y'all know I ain't always been this I'm still a babe in Christ, but I'm a little bit more mature in my walk.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell myself, I have little mantras that I tell myself when I'm getting ready to knock somebody out. Because we're not going to lie and say we never want to knock somebody out or say something to somebody. I always tell myself, and anybody who's working with me as a client knows my mantra is self-control is the beginning of winning. If you let this person take you somewhere else, you're a puppet. And I need people to understand when they're listening, when people can control your emotions and trigger you, you are a puppet to the world. And I refuse to be a puppet. So I used to pop off, now I pray. And I have little mantras that I use when I'm getting ready to lose. It's self-control is the beginning of winning. How you respond says nothing about the other person. It says everything about you. It is going to talk about it's the content of your character. So a lot of times I do talk to myself, and it's kind of prayer. And God, of course, I'm like, Jesus. And one of my famous prayers, one of my favorite prayers is fix it, Jesus.
No, the scripture, my favorite scripture, Romans 12:19.
Yes.
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I'm gonna let you deal with it.
Come on in next.
I'm gonna say mine's kind of interesting because usually things just go over my head, and for a long time I used to feel like maybe I wish God had maybe a little bit more quick, to catch things when they're coming at me. But then I realized that a lot of times if people are trying to trigger me or if a situation trying to trigger me, I don't even know because it went right over my head. So, so so if someone is trying to trigger me, if they think they're trying to trigger me, it goes right over my head. So I'm like so oblivious that, it's like, okay, I might catch on later, but then by that time it's like, okay, whatever. Um, you know, I would say this quick little story, and you guys know about it, that a certain person that I had my situation with got married, and a week later, someone sent me an email with a link to their wedding pictures. So, but yeah, I don't know what reaction or what the purpose was. Maybe it was a mistake. We're going to say maybe it was a mistake, but if it wasn't a mistake, at this point, it's like, whatever. I'm not moved. I'm not swayed. So happy for you. Maybe, go about yourself, live your life. And I feel proud of myself that I did not allow that to take me into another place. So there.
Good job, Shayla. I love it. Regina?
Well, I'm with Theo. I have to take it back and just think about it for a minute because Trey, I'm like you. I will pop off. I have learned not to pop off. And just take a minute because it did happen.
Yes.
Someone said something to me, I was ready to fight.
Mm.
And I knew. And this person that did it to me 3 times, and it was a guy. And I said, you know what? I done cursed you out 3 times. Now you coming at me again. Like, why do you keep coming at me? So I had to, and that's what I did. I said, you know what? I'm gonna take. And it took me 2 days to really calm down, think about it. I'm gonna say I prayed. I should have prayed, but I didn't. And I tried to go, and but I did. I end up telling him what happened, and why did you come at me when you did the same thing to me, and I didn't say anything to you. I mean, I'm not going to go into it, but that's what made me mad about the whole thing.
Wow.
You're turning around something on me that I never even, when you did it to me, I didn't mention it. Now you're going to try to turn it around on me. So and then it was other things, what different situations. So from that point, when I did that, other things have happened. So I've learned to just take a minute, cool down, process it, and then give my response. And I'm very proud of that because it took me a long time because I'm ready to pop off in a minute.
Yes.
As proud as I am, if you hit me the wrong way, you're like, oh, I didn't even know you was gonna do nothing like that. Yeah, you better know.
Annetta?
My coping skill it's kind of a combination. I've heard the words from each of you. And first of all, it's the fruit of the spirit, and that's self-control.
Yes.
But I have the 3 P's as a process: pray, pause, and process.
Yes.
So prayer allows you to take the focus off the situation, and it makes it a one-way relationship. Whoever it is or whatever it is no longer in the forefront. Pausing allows you to get your whole life together and then figure out, process, why did it bother you? Did it have something to do with you that you need to heal from? Or was it just the enemy throwing something your way? It's all about growth.
Yes.
And so, like Theo said, we've all done a lot of work. This is not pie in the sky. This is not, we're perfect, but we have learned skills that allow us to respond appropriately. That's what we've been talking about all night.
Yes, appropriately. Sheila?
Well, look, I got 2 of those P's, Netta. I'm still working on the pray part. Because, I got rid of the popping off P, all right? So I am at the pause in the process. And with the process, one of my big mantras is worry about what you can control, right? Whatever is in your sphere of control, that's what you focus on. There are things that are outside of that sphere, you have to let go. So I can, once I get to the point, I have to pause so that I don't pop off and allow myself to process it, because I'm looking at how I control myself. What in that situation that triggered me was out of my control that I need to let go. And then I take it a step further and say, what role did I play in that trigger being ignited? Because there was a time when I would, if you said something to me, and I'm all about logic, it has to make sense. And I would argue and argue and argue. And it's just like, why am I doing? I can't change your mind by arguing with you, right? That's not within my control.
Right.
It still doesn't have to make sense to me, but why am I holding on to it?
I love it. Yes.
And can I just say this real quick? The other thing I've learned is, right, that most people, their behavior is not indicative of who they are. So
Right.
I try to think about, you know what? I'm a like the whole process part is key, right? Because when you process it, you think, you know what? Maybe this behavior may not really be who this person is. So what do I need to do to separate myself from this situation?
Right. Yes. Yeah. Ain't not my circus, not my monkeys. That's what I be
There
telling
you go.
myself too. I be like, listen, go on about your business, cause I'm not even gonna go down that road with you, because you don't want to meet the unsaved Trey. 'Cause that might be a problem, because I've been saved, and that's what's saving you. So if you just tuned in, you're tuned into the Woman to Woman show. We're here every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, usually till 9:15. Tonight we're going a little long because we wanted to get our therapy card in, because it helps us process for the rest of the week, because we'll think about that card for the rest of the week. And thank you so much for sharing yours. Katrina said, my coping skills are, I say, the Psalms 23rd Psalms, because I can't get myself to a negative point, because if I allow negativity around me, it darkened a little of my light and I want to glow. Regina said, I have learned to pause and think before I respond. Thank y'all so much for responding. We really appreciate your engagement. And we're going to do our final thoughts when it comes to, has Black girl magic lost its shine? And we'll go around the room with final thoughts. Whoever wants to go first, jump on in.
I'll go. I it seems that this is a situation, or I don't know, is more than a situation, but we're in a time where it seems like Netta said that we need the pouring into the youth from those of us that have experienced more life, and that may be a solution. How we go about it, like Netta also said, one person at a time. So I think looking at a solution to this, whatever is going on, I don't even know what to call it, um, especially for our young women. I think that Netta hit it on the nail as far as mentoring.
I love it. Anybody want to go next?
I will say this. I don't think that Black girl magic has lost its shine. I think that it has been dominated by a media, social media, that is focused on drama and negativity, which is why we need more influencers like you creating your own network, where, because there are a lot of other women out there like us.
Yes.
Who are positive, who are connected, who are working together, who are shining in a positive light. And we just need to, like I said, we need to shift, right? And we need to take control, which is what you're doing with your platform, and create your own network. But I will say, and I think that's what it is. I think more of us just need to let our light shine a little brighter.
Come on now, y'all. We need to let our light shine a little brighter. Who wants to go next?
Well, I'll go. The answer to that question is an absolute no. Like Theo said, what you see is just a microcosm of those of us that are out there. There are too many of us who have fought long and hard, and there are too many of us who are continuing to fight to show the world that what you may see in a half hour or an hour clip, or in the time that it takes to do a reel, is not indicative of who we are. And that there are enough of us out there to keep spreading that message. At some point, Lizzo's going to turn that around because she is standing on the shoulders of Shirley Ralph, Cecily Tyson, Leslie Uggams, Diane Carroll. She's got a show that no one would have ever thought that she would have had that celebrates women of larger sizes.
Yes.
So it's a matter of her learning, because again, everything is a learning curve, right? She's going to learn that there's that little girl who's now right there in the 11th grade who has been teased for the bulk of her life, that she's going to be the one person that's going to empower that little girl. And all it takes is to make a difference in one person's life.
Wow.
So no, we are going to continue to shine, whether it be with a pen light, whether it be with the camera phone, or if it's a flashlight. And guess what? If it starts to dim, you change the battery or you go out and get a bigger one.
Come on now. Yes. Netta or Regina?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, and I agree. Absolutely, Black Girl Magic has not lost. You know, I mentor young girls, and I will continue to mentor young girls, and that's the platform that I stand on. It's funny that you said the. I was just thinking of one of the retreats would be where you get the older women and the younger women, and we give them our experience, and they tell what they're going through, and the two come together and collaborate and come up with a goal. So that's one thing. And I find that we are all get our Fannie Lou Hammer hat on, and we could take these young girls back, and we can bring them one at a time. We all have a lot of platforms. There's a lot of positivity out there. So of course they're not going to win. We're going to win because we are beautiful, we're Black, we're loved, and we're not going to let them take us down.
Yes. Come on now, Netta.
As long as there is a God,
Mm-hmm.
there is no way that our light can be dimmed because He is light. And as long as we're living for Him, keeping Him in the forefront, guiding us and teaching us so that we can reach and teach others, I don't need a big platform. All I need is my mouth and your presence. I'm going to reach each person that I come in contact with. I'm going to smile. I'm going to be inviting. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to share. I'm going to encourage. I'm going to uplift. I can do that in my home. I can do that in the store. I am charging each of us to be the light wherever we are. And as long as that's the case, it will not go out.
That was so good. And I'm going to say we must begin to highlight the doctors, the Black Girl Magic, the doctors, the lawyers, the behind the scenes, the sports agents, the basketball coaches, the HR professionals, the singers who sing different genres. We have to shine a light in a different direction in order for us to really see what Black Girl Magic looks like, because media has shined a light on trash, and I'm not calling anybody trash, but trashy behavior, soft porn, nakedness. When there are women out here who are trailblazing, there are Black women out here who are changing the world. There are Black women out here who are starting corporations. There are Black women out here who are starting schools for young Black girls. There are Black girls out here, women that are out here mentoring. So I want everybody that's watching who is not Black, and I want everybody who is watching who thinks that Black Girl Magic is being diminished, I want you to not believe the hype. I want you to sit here and know that we are Black women on this panel, the 7 of us, and we love ourselves. We love our bodies. We respect ourselves. We respect our bodies, and we have healthy conversations behind the scenes in order to change the dynamic of what's being seen. I am a Black woman, and I started a Black network, the New You Nation Network, to give Generation X Black men and women a platform to shine positivity, nurturing content, because I'm never going to be a part of the problem if I'm not willing to be part of the solution. So instead of being part of the problem, make it your business to be part of the solution. So we are going to end the night with Shirley Ralph's video again, and then we're going to close it out. So thank you everybody for tuning into our first episode of the second season, our premiere episode. Thank you so much. Black Girl Magic has not lost its shine. And with that being said, let's bring our girl back in.
I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim song. I am a woman, I am an artist, and I know